Today's video is dedicated to the usage of vehicles in Arma 3, or in general, properly games, that are meant to educate the certain seats within a vehicle. This will go for combat vehicles, armored combat vehicles like a basic hunter in vanilla. Can also be used for any kind of vehicle that is a infantry vehicle with a gun on top of it if you want so. So let's jump right into this, yes? But with the basics, we have a option that we can use. You can see my view goes up and down. This is the control left and page up and page down. And some of you may think, what is this useful for? Well, for some people the usual option is not comfortable of the camera. I personally like it a little bit lower than the other people, but that's totally up to you, so you can use that for your own feeling. Now, you usually want to go all the way up if you drive down, so you can always see the ground. Maybe you want to go a little bit more down. It really depends on the steepness, but that's pretty much the usual use for if you go up. Now, the same rule doesn't apply if you drive upwards, which means you can't see shit. So we go all the way down and boom, we see all of the hill. Perfect, isn't it? Start with a vehicle that is used in a milsim environment. There's always one seat, usually the passenger seat on the front window, that is dedicated to what's called the commander or the section leader or whatever you use in the vehicle. Now, this person has the overview of the combat area pretty much. He is giving orders to the whole crew and he knows where to go. So this is the point the whole thing starts. What the commander should do is to tell his driver where they are going. This means open the map, know where you are, tell your person we are currently here, and tell them where to drive. Now, this is not as easy as you think. You can say, okay, we drive to this place called Antrakia, but what if you assault this place and you actually want to go, let's say, from below, right? Because there's protection, there's cover, and the road is bad. So what you want to do is tell your driver where you want him to go. Give him a little bit of advice, like tell him I want to go in this direction. You can also draw it or point it, and just tell him you want to go like this. That's all he needs to know. He now knows you want to go in the southern area, which you can check with the compass, and you want to stay behind cover. We obviously all tell him that information is key. And he also will know that as soon as he finds a weird house in a pit somewhere, there's a road incoming and he should follow this piece of road over a little bridge of a little weird sea pond. So that's pretty much what the commander should do to introduce the driver. And let's go to the next step when we arrive at that place. Assume you and your driver arrived at this bridge, right? You can see it up front. It is this place. That's probably the very latest point where a commander should make thoughts. Where do you want to this out? Now, this is also a thing you want to tell your driver beforehand. We did tell him we want to go here into this place. We didn't tell him where to dismount. So that's a point we want to add as well. Now, this can vary. Probably you want to dismount here. And what do you want to do with that? You are in cover, you can do more stuff, and so on. Doesn't matter. Now, you want to tell this your driver beforehand. You don't tell him to do this. 100% you tell him that's your idea. Now, this is the point where you will get into contact. And at this point, you can do changes. Now, you obviously analyze this map a little bit more than I did. So we'll know exactly what's pretty much in front of you. You have trees, walls, houses, enemies, whatever. You want to make sure that your driver at this point has an idea what your thoughts are. If you are still on the same plan because you have no reason to change it, you will do this. And you will tell at this point, even though the plan is still the same, you will tell your driver, we stick to the plan. Because a driver under contact, if insecure, will doubt whatever is happening. So just tell him we stick to the plan no matter what happens. A good driver doesn't need this to be said, but they're not always good drivers. So this is the thing. Tell him to go on. Now there may be happening a contact. Maybe you run into a gun, a tank, or whatever, God knows. At this point you have to intervene. You have to tell him exactly what to do, and this has to be done rather accurate. Let's take it like that. What is if you realize something's off? Maybe there's contact around the house, in the house, you can't go there. And you are already pretty close because the trees blocked all of the view. What do you do in this moment? Now, there are two things. Speed. Don't go into this place with a speed of 70. Like, you can do it if you are desperate and you need to do it because there are heavy guns around to destroy you if you're not speedy enough. But that's already bad reasoning. So what you want to do is reduce the speed to a pace where you can still react. Because if you go in with 70, you will be there before you even can react. So what do you go here? Maybe 40, 50, I guess. And at this point, it will be fast already because there are like 50 meters between you and the area you want to drop off. So what you do is quickly driver, hold. Why hold? It's stupid, isn't it? Well, if you don't tell him to hold, he's going to be there before you arrive there. So, driver hold, he's going to brake down, and while he's braking, you tell him turn left, right? So, the driver, coming in with a good amount of 50, will be driving with 50. He's already in, and you say hold, and he's going to brake, turn left, he's going to turn left. Is it a bad moment? No. The enemy doesn't know you're coming. Maybe they know where you are coming, but is an enemy fast enough to react to this? Well, if he is, he already was prepared beforehand, so you probably would have been blown up already before. The question a commander has to go through is, what does he do with the gunner? In this vehicle, the gunner is a turret, pretty much. It's very tank-like. There are other guns that have maybe only a gun with an actual man sticking out or anything else. So we assume there's only one person on it. You will give him a direction where to aim. In this case, let's be honest, down the road, it's the best option he has. If you're on open field, tell him aim towards left, front left, direct front. Maybe you even have an enemy that could be behind you because you're doing a maneuver around the place and the enemy could very likely be behind you, or you know it's behind you, whatever. Now just tell him where he should look. If you don't tell him where he should look, he usually looks forward. Now, what about the driver, right? The driver listens to the orders he has gotten by the commander, right? So he knew where to drive, he knows where to arrive, he knew where to brake and return. But that's not all to a driver. A driver is not just a mindless soul, right? So if a driver is going back because we had to retreat because of a issue, maybe the commander said we had to retreat, he's now in this location where the commander probably is a little bit unsure what's going on. He's still thinking. What do you do as a driver? Exactly, help him think. Now, there's a fucking stream down here. There's a stream down here that is perfectly in cover. Now, the commander at this point might reinitiate the attack from another angle. He's still figuring it out. Now, what do you do as a driver? You bring yourself in cover. This is perfect. That's all you have to do. Think for the commander. Help the commander. Help your crew to survive. That's pretty much all you should do. And that's part one of what's being a driver. You may also run into situations as a commander where you are on the drive because it needs to be fast. You get orders fast. We are dying, whatever, God knows. So you're driving. You don't know what you do yet, but you say you're driving. You're giving your driver the order, go on this road. Now you figured out, oh, okay, I know what I want to do. So you go like driver, left side, hill, follow it on the left side, right? Be accurate with what you're saying. Left side of the hill on the left. So he's driving on the left side of the hill to the left, and then you can keep going. While he's driving, you can always give orders. At the end of the hill, turn right. So he will probably get randomly an order. Oh, we are at the end of the hill. Okay, he's turning right. And then you go like, let's say, rocks up front behind the building. Driver knows where to go. He goes up here. Behind this building. Oh, look, rocks. He sees rocks now, probably somewhere. I'm probably in the wrong direction, but he sees rock now. So that's where you want to go. It's on the drive a lot harder, especially if you're driving fast. So if you are insecure about the situation, about what you want to do, probably slow him down. It doesn't help if he's going fast but in the wrong direction, or drives straight into death. So probably limit him to 40 kilometers. Just tell him 40 kilometers, keep 40 kilometers. If you have mods, it's easier. I currently don't have mods on, so I just tap it. Now look, this is way more comfortable than 70. That is literally flying past everything. Like, this is barely to control. What is the second part of being a driver, right? You think for the commander in a case where it's not easy to assume, but there's something else. Think for the gunner and the commander at the same time. Now, you have a gunner, right? Here's a gun, it's sticking out, you are inside the vehicle, you're having a bad time, and you want to pretty much set you up useful. Let's say this case can happen in a scenario that I just described. We're thinking for the commander, finding cover, but it could also be when the commander guides you to a position where you should go for and hold. Now let's say we are attacking a spot up there, and the commander says we should hold in this ditch. Well, let's assume we want to have vision on target. This means you don't put your car on top of this hill, right? Great, now everybody can see the vehicle and you can see everything, but is that a good idea? Nope. What do you want to do? You want to make sure, and this is also very much possible in the first person, needs maybe a little bit of experience, but you can place the gun in a way that the driver and the commander can't see out of there, but the gunner can see above this hill. Now, I'm a little bit off. Gunner at this point will say, driver, 1 meter further right. So the driver goes into driving mode, goes like this. And the gunner probably at this point can see everything he needs to know, let's be honest. And if we look at this in third person, it might look pretty unsuspicious, isn't it? It's a vehicle on a hill, open ground, I don't know. But let's go to target location and look at this vehicle. Where is the vehicle? Should be somewhere down there, right? Where is it though? Where is it? I barely can see it. It should be somewhere down there. Oh, look at this. Oh, can you see it? Slightly, maybe a bit, yeah? He can barely see it. The gun can see it, but you barely see it. Now let's compare this. When Mr. Driver has no idea what he's doing and just stands here. Maybe he's smart enough to use a bush, let's assume not. So he's standing here. Gunner has having a good time, he can see the target, but guess what? Target can see vehicle. I can see it from here now, no issue. Can you see it? No? Let's zoom a little bit in. Now you can see it. If you still can't see it, let's go slowly in, maybe a little bit better. If you get closer, you can see the full vehicle. This is awful. Just told you about this, what's called a hull down position, by the way, is usable with anything in the world. You can use big rocks like this one over there. You can also use land. Like, I've done that in the river down there, but you can also do it with hills. Right now I'm using third person, so I do it on first spot because I'm not perfect. Same position, we are in an open field, but if the enemy is on the other side of this hill, guess what? Gunner can see over it. I'm zoomed in. Gunner can see over it perfectly fine, can hit everything behind it, as long as it's not in the valley, I guess. But, same game. I barely can see it. I try to spot it. Let's see, where is it? Where is it? Where did I park it? Oh, it's over there. Look at this. I'm standing here, maybe in a sandbag position. Maybe I even have an RPG. Imagine I have an RPG, a GMG. I have everything to destroy a vehicle like this, but all I can see is this little crippled ass turret, right? No chance I destroy it. He can destroy you. So that's a little bit the idea behind this. Use it, be smart about it, and train your crew to do this. This is very important. We use the same concept with walls. Bushes in Fury. Bushes are more visual than anything, but you can also use bushes if you want so. It's also cover. So maybe you order the driver to drive to the wall. He may appear from the road. Have a hard time. He's just doing it like this. And once again, it's a vehicle. This vehicle is big. The wall is a little bit smaller. But in the end, we have the same effect. We have, if I go over there, we do have a vehicle that is partially at least covered. So a shell in Arma, or an RPG even. An RPG probably won't penetrate the wall. It will drop the wall, damage the vehicle, but not destroy that vehicle. A shell will go through the wall, will destroy the wall, mostly, and very likely also destroy the vehicle. But if you have a tank, the tank may very much survive thanks to this wall. Never forget that. Arma has physics, and this is included. Probably also want to talk about the gunner. What should the gunner do? Let's be honest, the gunner in a vehicle is the easiest job. The only job a gunner has is to kill and destroy a target and have an open eye. After all, usually, depending on which area you're playing, you have the technology to zoom in. You have the best eyes of them all, because you can zoom in, you have the gun, you are pretty much always ready, so that's your target. The gunner just looks around, warns about what he sees, and follows orders. Easy, isn't it? That's pretty much it, yeah. The gunner should know where to hit. It's very different depending on the vehicle, depending on the tactics you want to go. Up to the commander, up to the unit. I will not command that. What to talk about is, once again, we are in a hull down position, where only the gun can look over the area on target. Gunner, driver, and commander can't. They are just seeing dirt. There is a situation where you get shot at. Now, the thing is, if you are a tank, you're still vulnerable because your turret is also explosive. In this vehicle, it's probably less of a problem because the gun just goes down. If this happens, you get shot at, and you know it's pretty much something that can destroy your gun or your tank. You want to do a thing that I personally don't have a universal name for. I will call it hopping, which pretty much means you go away from this position and you reappear somewhere where the enemy probably doesn't know you will. It's pretty much the same thing you do with infantry. So let's say, okay, that wasn't smart. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking and driving at the same time. It's not a good idea. Driver obviously would look like this. Driver would go up here. Maybe he says like, okay, I like this position. Let's drive a little bit hull down-ish. That should be hull down on down there. So the gunner once again can see. The enemy doesn't know you appeared there. Maybe he does see you, but you've surely won time, especially when you start to fire back at it. My little big tutorial for vehicle movement that is armed. There are vehicles that are less armed. We could talk about man-held vehicles that are probably something like a Prowler that is unarmed. You can stand on it in the middle. You're not very protected. Works as well, usually not very useful because a Prowler is not a combat vehicle. Same thing pretty much works for any vehicle. Do I find any other vehicles that are probably very good for this? Ifrits probably would also work, especially if they have a gun on it. A Killing could work. Oh god, because it has a bigger gun on it. Is there also a Prowler with it? No, but in theory with these it would also work. It's obviously less efficient because there's still a guy hanging out that can be shot with a bullet. But it can work, it protects the person more because the vehicle is harder to spot, and so is the man on top of it. I hope you could learn something out of this. I personally really like to use vehicles like this. It's very useful, very smart, and it helps pretty much with anything you do. And as always, you can use this position wherever you want, wherever you can. Use these drills, make everyone aware of them, and once every person involved knows what they have to do, your vehicle will be, let's be honest, probably 75% safer than before, just because you're protecting yourself like your human body.